So when you decided you were going to found Attorney Live, which is where I think it's good to talk about. What was your process? Like, where did you identify there's a gap here that needs to be filled? And we'll start there.
Okay. Well, so a lot of people, and again, I pull from those 18 years in legal insurance industry and employee benefits. A lot of people are, one, they can't afford an attorney, right? The average attorney charges $320 an hour. So most people can't afford that. Accessibility is super, super hard. 66 million people every single year go unrepresented because of cost and accessibility. And so, being in
what
this,
happens to those people, if you don't mind me asking?
so you think like legal aid, which is free pro bono, they're overwhelmed. They have too many people to handle. They don't have enough staff. And what happens is they'll go to either court unrepresented and not have a fair chance of whatever their right may be, whether it's like a tenant landlord dispute or a divorce proceeding or civil matter or criminal matter, traffic court matter, DUI, any of those types of things. And they go unrepresented completely. So they'll go into court and try to figure it out themselves, which is near impossible.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you're setting those, or those people are setting themselves up to be, ill-equipped is I was going to say like to be kind of made fools of almost, because you can't understand the process without knowing and studying it and living it. And you're not, the law is the law. So your thoughts and feelings don't really matter when you get to that courtroom.
Right. Well, and like a lot of people, Attorney Live is more of a cause-based app, right? Like the cause is, hey, we need to provide vetted quality attorneys on demand via Tele-Law, phone or video consultations, and not only provide that consultation for a price that anyone can afford, but also then follow up with, hey, not only can you talk to the attorney and consult with them for up to an hour every single time you have a legal need, but then you get a significant discount on their hourly rate, which makes it more palatable for somebody to find an attorney. And they can do it from the comfort of their own home, right? They don't have to travel into an office. They don't have to Google and try to pray that they find the right attorney. So it just makes it a very simple, easy to use application that really anyone could use.
Yeah. And I think what was so interesting the first time we got connected, obviously there's like some parallels with what I do with our organization, but what was so relatable to me is there's several times in my life where I've needed an attorney for labor purposes, for divorce, for a landlord, all the stuff you named. I feel like I've been in all of those situations. Someone to help, negotiate a severance package at work, like stuff like that, where, you don't even, and again, like you can read a contract, you can read a severance package or participant agreement like I did to go on reality TV, but like unless you know, you don't know. Like
you got to know what you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. And I think back to like I had and I don't know if my NDA is passed on this either, but I had a severance agreement that I had several years ago. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I got an attorney, my view was like, I just want you to review this and make sure I'm not getting bamboozled.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there was stuff in there that would have never crossed my mind that this attorney looked at and was like non-compete, for example. Like they had giant companies in there that I couldn't go work for, like Amazon. And it's like, that's a huge, how can you say I can't work for a big company like that? You know what I mean? So stuff like that you just don't even know. And so, but the other thing that I think is so cool about your app is like you have this like guided selling approach where you're actually asking the person a few questions to guide them in the right direction. A lot of times I don't know, do I need a labor attorney? Do I need a contracts attorney? Do I, what do I need? Because I don't actually know. And I think that's the case for a lot of people, and you don't even know where to start.
Yeah. Well, May of 20. So speaking to that, Nick, May of 22 is when we first rolled out our mobile design and the application. And it's exactly what we learned. Wow, we need to do more than just schedule consultation. Because when we first rolled out our first version, it was just schedule consultation. So they just picked their legal matter and picked a day and time and then scheduled it. So right now, our newest mobile app that we just rolled out this past January of 24 has scheduled consultation and questions, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
And it also has ask a question, because most people don't know. We found out through rigorous testing and group testing and focus groups that people are like, well, I think it's this type of law, or I think it's this type of need that I have. And they oftentimes don't have it nailed down to what they actually need.
Yeah, it's been every experience I've had. The only one I knew for sure was that I needed a divorce attorney. That's
Right.
but even that, there's like subsets in it, and you're like, what is any of? I'm lucky I got a recommendation, but it's very tough. And I think for people who a lot of the people that can't afford it initially
Yeah.
are economically don't really have the time necessarily to do the research to even try
Exactly.
too. So
And how do they know?
that's
They can trust them. Like, where do they look? I mean, you can't just Google it. And there's these other companies out there that will be like, oh, we'll scan your document and we'll tell you things that are wrong. Well, no, where's the personalization of that? Like, you
yeah,
can't, or a do it yourself lease or will, like fill in the blank will, fill in the blank lease. Like,
sounds legit.
yeah, it's just, again, I pull from those 18 years and those
Yeah.
things just don't work.
What do you think is so stigma may not be the right word. I'm pulling that from how I'm thinking about it, but like there's so much ambiguity in law, which we've just kind of talked about. And you said you've done the research because initially you didn't think that piece of it maybe was as relevant as it would be. And so now you've built this user experience that's guiding, I say guided selling because that's what we call it in my job, but
Uh-huh.
you're kind of guiding them through this list of questions to point them in the right direction. Like, how do you help people or even message to people like we help remove those stigmas, we make it less cloudy, we help you where to start, because otherwise from the outside it could just be, oh, here's a marketplace for attorneys, great, I could also go get that from a Google search.
Right. Well, so there's a few ways to answer that, I guess. The first is how we recruit our attorneys. So we just don't let any attorney on the network. They're vetted highly by our internal care team. And so when an attorney gets on our network, they have to be approved. They have to have a certain amount of liability insurance. They have to have a certain amount of years they practiced law. They have to have their state bar license in good standing, i.e. they haven't had any issues with the state bar. So on that side, and there's a bunch of other questions too that pre-qualify them. And then we review every single one of those manually. We do not it's not an automated process to where they just get on. So not only does the customer get a great attorney experience, but then we looked at the consumers and we said, hey, like, what's the highest need with consumers? Like, what are they really looking for? Like, how can we help them understand what type of matter that they have in a kind of a diluted way? So
Layman's terms almost.
layman's terms. So anybody at any level of education knows how to do it. And that's what we've rolled out this June. It's super simple. It's been helping thousands of people already. And we really want to be that Tele-Law household name for everyone, because right now it's only $4.99 to schedule a consultation with an attorney, $5. So,
Wow.
A cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And I know that's probably a little bit standard talk, like less than a cup of coffee, but it's true. It's $4.99.
Well, no, it is true. And when you look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, 350, was it, did you say an hour on average or whatever?
320, yeah.
320, yeah. You look at that and you're just like, well, if we can't get this solved in an hour or maybe 15 minutes, like that's not going to work for me. So I think it is important to highlight that that's a benefit of getting that, first, do you call it a consultation, like initial consultation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also know, like, certain stages of life, people deal with different things, right? When you're in your 20s, you're not typically buying a house, like you're renting. So landlord and tenant matters. When you're in your 30s, you may be getting married or having children or buying your first home. And so we market and communicate those messages to those target audiences and groups that need it the most during that stage of life.
Right.
And it's funny, Nick, because a lot of people, as you said too, not only do they not know what type of matter they have, but they also don't know that they could use an attorney for a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people think like, oh, I get in trouble, I need an attorney. Well, no, like buying your first home, you're not in trouble, right? A lease agreement, you're not in trouble. Writing a will, you're not in trouble. So like there's a lot of things that we have to educate the consumers on, that there's daily life events that you can literally use an attorney for now because it's affordable and accessible.
Right. And how do you, I know you've got a new campaign you're doing right now. Like, how do you reach common folks with your company with that message? Because I think even initially when we first chatted, I was like, oh, it's a marketplace for attorneys. But now, like, learning that you're actually kind of democratizing legal services, I'll say, my words, not yours. You're democratizing it for people who maybe otherwise wouldn't be able to have it. Like, how do you reach those people? Like.
So typically, so like a lot of other companies and organizations do, we have a pretty heavy campaign and plan and strategy on social media. So we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on LinkedIn. But then we also do Google search ads. So when people are searching and in need late at night, early in the morning, whenever it may be, that they have a resource and they can find us that way. We also do in-app store messaging, things like that. So if they're searching, I need an attorney on the App Store or Google Play, that we pop up as well. So we trying to spread the word as much as we can. We're in all 50 states, but we're focused in 7 specific states, and they're really the largest metropolitan states in the country. So you got heavy populations there that we can help right away. And then, of course, we get others from all over the country as well.
Yeah, and you've really been blowing up, it sounds like, which is a good thing. Thank you for listening to this clip from the full episode of Eyes Wide Open. Please like and subscribe for daily clips and new episodes that drop every Tuesday. I appreciate you.